Hello, this is Muho from Switzerland. As every year in the summer, I spend 2 months in Germany and Switzerland to lead sessions and give talks. 1 week ago, I arrived in Germany and I'm pretty happy that it's quite cloudy or even rainy every day. The Germans are complaining that they're missing the summer, but in Japan we had close to 40 degrees during the daytime and even during the nighttime, sometimes more than 30 degrees. So I enjoy that it's quite cool here. As you see, I'm covering my head with a towel. And today I'm heading towards the Felsentor, which is a Zen center deep in the mountains. You have a magnificent sight over the Swiss Alps. It was founded by Vanya Palmas, an originally Austrian Zen teacher, a student of Kobun Chino. He studied with Kobun Chino, I think in the 70s, in the 80s in California. He's the founder of this place. They do sesshin all year round. And you have a magnificent view there. I'm gonna take there. The closest train station, the train station there where I got off today is in Lucerne. And from there you take a boat. It's the first time that I'm coming by boat. The last couple of times I was going by car. So I'm looking forward to the boat trip. Unfortunately, I don't have any roaming data here in Switzerland, or I should have, but I'm not good at finding out how I can use my roaming data. So I'm one of these people that are, how do you say, kind of helpless without Google Maps. So I'm hoping that I'm on the right boat and I'm heading in the right direction. The mountain that you can see over there is called Rigi, and somewhere on top of that mountain is the Felsentor, which literally means the rock gate. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that whitish building that you can see here in the center, that should be the Felsentor. So actually, when you stay there from the upper floors, you have a beautiful view both on the lake, but also of the opposing Alps. I think in the 19th century, Marc Twain also hiked on that mountain, and somewhere in his works he mentions that rock gate. But over there is a famous hotel. I think famous people like Audrey Hepburn stayed there, and about a year ago they had a peace conference for Ukraine in that hotel. I think it's called Birkenstock, almost like the German sandals. And I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but there's a very tall elevator. So I'm not sure if you can go up there from the lake, but at least from somewhere in between it should be possible to reach the top of that mountain. It almost reminds one a little bit of the Hotel Grand Budapest. On the other side, opposite to the Felsentor, is this mountain which is called Pilatus, or Pilatus in English. The same guy who washed his hands in innocence before he judged Jesus. And after arriving with the boat in Fitznau, you take a kind of train up the mountain. And if you participate in one of the sessions in the Felsentor, you get a reduction for the ticket. So 10 minutes, that should be enough to get a ticket. Trains are headed for Rigi-Kulm, that's the top of the mountain, but you get off at a station that's called Felsentor. That could be a statue of Karl Marx, but I doubt that's Karl Marx. Let's take a last view of the lake, Fitznau, and from here you take the train up the mountain. What is a little bit tricky is that the train doesn't stop at Felsentor if you don't push a button. So when you see the Felsentor on the screen, you have to push the button by yourself, otherwise the train will go all the way up. So the train was full of hikers and I'm the only one who got off here at the Felsentor station. I think this station is about 1,200 meters. The lake from where I got onto the train, and this is probably the mail. That should be the mail for Felsentor. Please put all mail to Felsentor into the Felsentor box. So it's almost a little bit like Antalya here. So 15-minute walk from here. So it's almost 800 meters above the lake. And actually when we got up, I felt it a little bit in my ears. I felt a little pressure in my ears. So today is the third time I'm here. The first time I think was 3 years ago. The second time last year together with Dirk, a Rinzai teacher. And today I'm here alone again. The last 2 times were both in September, but at least from my memory it was considerably more warm. It was warmer than today. Although we're at the beginning of August, it's a little bit chilly. but as I said in the beginning, I'm kind of enjoying it. Better to have it a little bit chilly. Also, actually, I brought a winter, how do you say that? Wollmütze, you would say in German. A hat made of wool, just in case. And I've never been here outside of the summer, so I wonder how it's here in the autumn or in the winter. I guess when there's snow, that's also beautiful, but it must be quite cold then. As you can see, some of these mountains over there have snow on the top, and some of these are actually around 4,000 meters high. So here with 1,200 meters, we're still on the low side, so to speak. And these fences, as you can probably tell, are for the cows. So the cows can run freely here, and to prevent them from going all the way down to the lake, they have these fences. And I doubt that there's cars passing here, but if you go with some kind of vehicle, you open it by yourself, and if you walk, you can take a detour. And these cows can actually make quite some noise, both by mooing, but also with the bells that they have around their neck. I'm not sure if I should try to take a... Okay, that worked. I guess you can also open these electric fences. I'm not quite sure how high the voltage is. We had these in Antalya as well, not for the cows, but to keep the boars and the deer outside, so to prevent them from eating our vegetables and our rice. And at least from Antalya, I remember, well, it can be a little bit hurtful. It hurts a little bit when you touch these fences, but it's not life endangering. But I'm not sure about Switzerland. Could imagine that the Swiss cows are stronger and therefore that they have a higher voltage here on the fences. So it's right noon. And I'm not quite sure when the first participants will arrive. It could be that some of them have arrived already, but the session will start in the afternoon. It's a one-week session. So there's quite some athletic people here climbing with the mountain bike. Although I could imagine that he has some electric motor that helps him. We don't have these in Japan yet so much. There are these bicycles, especially for parents, where they can put their kids in the front and in the back. They are called mamachari in Japanese, bicycles for mamas. And they sometimes have some electric battery to help them, but they're not as fast as they are here in Switzerland or Germany. Like some of these electric bicycles, they can drive up to 60 kilometers per hour. And I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, we don't have these in Japan. So I'm always kind of surprised when I see older people also racing. Sometimes even small roads like this with their bicycles at high speeds. So I think there have been also accidents in Germany, people getting hurt because they couldn't control their high-speed bicycles. Over there, that's again Pilatus, Pilatus, and I wish I could tell you the names of all these mountains, but I can't. Here we have reached the Felsentor. On the other side of that small fence, you can't see it now, but there's a traditional Japanese style zendo where we will do zazen, and those who sleep in a dormitory, they will sleep below the zendo. And I don't see any cows here right now, but often during zazen you will hear a lot of noise, both the moo moo moo, but also the sound of the bells that those cows carry around their necks. So in case that they don't get lost, the farmers can find them. And the Felsentor is named after these huge rocks that we will pass in a couple of seconds. And in front of these rocks, in front of the gate, again, a very beautiful Chinese, Japanese style gate. And you find some Chinese characters there. In Japanese you would read them sekimonji. Sekimonji means the stone gate temple or the rock gate temple. And in the 19th century, I think Mark Twain was one of the earliest American hikers who passed through this mountain gate, rock gate. And I could imagine that the Sangha here is having lunch right now. Let's see. I will take you to the zendo later, but here you have an old hotel. I think the hotel is around 100 years old or so. Functioned as a restaurant, or at one point I think it was a boys' home. And 20 or 30 years ago, Twain Palmas bought this house and he built the extra zendo. So now it's a Zen monastery. But it also, as you can see, functions as a cafe. So hikers who pass through here, they can sit here, and there's a fridge inside and a coffee machine. Basically, the idea is that you help yourself. That's Gartencafé ist offen. So it's open and there's self-service. And you just put your money into this cash register. Or if you don't have any money, you take the cash register with you. Could imagine that also in the winter, it's pretty cozy in here. Used cups go here. And again, you have a very, very beautiful view from the cafe, as well as from the higher floors of the Felsentor. So this is where some of us will have their rooms with an excellent view. So that's the Felsentor building where people stay overnight and can have tea or coffee, and that's a sign by the hiking trail. Obviously Mark Twain also came here between 1878 and 1897. I will put some of the stuff that he wrote in the video description if you're interested. That's the hiking trail that leads down to the lake, and some of the hikers pass here and enjoy the beautiful view of the landscape. Hello. So on the right side you see Lucerne, where I started with a boat after getting off from the train. And at the center that's Pilatus. And then on top of that mountains is the Bürgenstock, famous old hotel. And also the elevator can be not really seen at this time, but at night it's lit up, so it can be quite beautiful. And on a really sunny day, these mountains are breathtaking. Don't disturb us by meditating. Here is the herb garden. How do I get in here? It's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit tricky to get in. So I just had lunch and a delicious cup of tea, and I could imagine that part of the tea is grown up here in this beautiful herb garden. And I will show you the Japanese style Zendo soon. But here actually the Sangha, so the people that live here all year round, they have their own meditation room. So I think that's what the don't disturb is referring to. There's a meditation, second meditation room here.
Ja, das ist
Hallo.
der Second Meditation. Ich gebe Ihnen gerade Liebesanleitungen.
Also,
Komm ruhig, wir gehen raus.
nee, also, oder okay, dann.
Du willst doch den hier leer haben, also ohne meine farbigen Socken hier. Rausgehen, kurz. Ist die Gruppe drüber? Nein,
So this is where the Sangha meditates. And who's that? Well, Monju-san I would get, Manju Shri, the Bodhisattva. This is the dining room where we will have dinner tonight. But from tomorrow during the session we will eat the traditional Japanese olyoki. And here's a map of all the mountains that you can see on a beautiful day from here. So again in the center there's the Pilatus, and on the right side that's Lucerne. Nice herb garden. And Felsentor also has a library with some books, photographs of Shunryu Suzuki, Zen mind, beginner's mind, but of course also Kobun Roshi, the teacher of Vanya Palmas. And that's brother David, a friend I think of Vanya Palmas, who founded this place together with Vanya. And here I can see the olyoki. We will use these here for our session. Actually, it's the first time in quite some time that I'm using olyoki at Antaiji. We always had those, but in Osaka I eat with normal plates, and probably somebody's gonna spend the afternoon preparing the setsu. These sticks are used to clean the bowls after you eat, so you don't wash them in the sink with soap, but you use these sticks, and they don't get washed with soap for a whole week. That's the kitchen where our meals are prepared, and from tomorrow we will carry the food over here. That, by the way, is in Japanese it would be the bonsho, the bell that's rung in the morning and also in the evening for evening zazen. And over here, Japanese style zendo. Ho-un-do is written there at the entrance. Ho-un-do is Phoenix Cloud Hall. Phoenix Cloud Hall. And I think the Sangha here is also called the Phoenix Sangha. Could imagine that maybe Ho-un was another Dharma name of Kobun Roshi, but I'm not sure about that. So this is where you take off your shoes, and some people are staying here in the dormitories. Let's have a look how the dorms look inside. So on the right side are the women, and here there's room for 5 men. So that's traditional Japanese zendo style, except that in Japan, when in the morning when you get up, you would fold these futons and put them here in the closet, and then you would also meditate there. But in the Felsentor, you keep the futons outside all day and you meditate upstairs. And during break times, you can sit here in the sun. From here, unfortunately, there's no view, but if you walk for a couple of meters, you also have a splendid view. This is the bath, and I'm not sure if you can take a shower as well. Probably that's the shower. I'm not quite sure about the showers, but could imagine that they have showers in here as well. And the zendo is upstairs. Here people can choose their zafu, and I think we're 27 or 28, including myself. And here, I don't know if that's also Manjushri or if it's a different bodhisattva. Last year I visited Purek, which is another Zen monastery founded by Vanya Palmas, and there they had a rock instead of a Buddha or Bodhisattva. And this would be a Kinhin course. So traditionally in Soto you would do Kinhin inside the Zendo, but I usually at least every second Kinhin I do outside. If it's raining, you can do it here, and if it's sunny, that would be another area to do Kinhin. Also sometimes I take the guys further away. It once happened, that was 3 years ago, that on the day when they bring all of the cows down to the village, so when it becomes colder, they bring all the cows from the mountain back to the village, and we were just doing Kinhin, going upwards, and they came towards us. But fortunately, they just avoided us. They managed to avoid us. Okay, so this is the Felsentor. If you're ever in Switzerland and have the time for a session, I can only recommend it.